Senate passes 2022 supplementary budget of 819.5 billion naira alongside Finance Bill 2022. Asia markets mix as investors look ahead to 2023 headwinds, and oil prices rise on hopes for China demand boost. This is Business Express on the network service of the NTA, and we are reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. Compliments of the season, and it's good to have you join us at this time. We'll start by telling you that Senate has passed the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Bill of 819.5 billion naira, all of which are capital expenditure. The bill seeks to, among other things, provide additional funds to address the effects of the 2022 flood on road and water infrastructure, agriculture, and the completion of some ongoing critical projects that have achieved 85% completion. Senate also passed Finance Bill 2022, which, among other issues, seeks to enhance tax equity, respond to climate change, and create jobs.
1. Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, 69 billion. Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, 704 billion. Federal Capital Territory, 30 billion. Federal Ministry of Water Resources, 15.5 billion.
This supplementary is a worthwhile attempt to make sure that projects, especially capital projects, are executed.
The total sum of 819 billion 536 million 937,813 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for Capital Expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of March 2023. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. As have it.
The presidential request for the restructuring of the Ways and Means 2022 was suspended after a heated debate. Nigeria, alongside other African countries, is getting ready to adopt the genome editing technology as a breeding tool in biotechnology in efforts to address challenges of low agricultural productivity and poverty. This has become evident following a meeting of Conference of Parties and Policy Dialogue in this emerging technology from 6 AU member states at the instance of National Biotechnology Agency, NAPDA, and the African Union Development Agency, NEPAD, in Nigeria. Justin Bem-Onyi reports.
Agricultural genome editing of crop plants is a rapidly advancing technology. It is a case whereby targeted characteristics in a crop plant are altered in a highly specific manner and with great precision, with the aim of increasing yield, resisting pests and diseases, as well as improving climate resilience. Gene editing was aspirationally endorsed under the African Union Agenda 2063. So far, only 2 countries, Nigeria and Kenya, have implemented guidelines for a case-by-case review of genome-edited crops, but no African country has yet approved one. Nigeria is inching closer to fully adopt this emerging technology. The country just recently hosted 6 African countries, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Ethiopia, Eswatini, and Zambia, for the Policy Science Practice Dialogue to enhance domestication and use of genome editing science in Africa, leading to the launch of a community of experts. The project, the African Union Development Agency, NEPAD, and NABDA facilitated.
The government of Nigeria strongly shares the vision of this project and will continue to support its activities.
For Nigeria, the exam biosafety guidelines are robust and explicit on genome-edited products, providing the necessary regulatory environment for the introduction and adoption of the genome editing tools for the innovation of products and services for the teeming Nigerian populace.
You can use this technology to improve the health situation, the challenges in the plant, for it to now produce optimally to get the actual yield.
Relatively, a national communication strategy for Nigeria to enhance the use of genome editing technology to boost agriculture on the continent has been drafted. The drafted action plan put together by different stakeholders and experts outlines a clear strategic approach for communication and awareness creation on the technology. Justin Bemunyi.
From there, we go to the meat of the day. The continuous hike in the price of chicken and poultry products has continued to be a thing of concern for many, as the public depends on it for their source of minerals, protein, carbohydrates, and vitamins. Why the high cost of poultry products, and why does it persist, particularly in this season? Joining me to answer these questions is Director General, Poultry Association of Nigeria, Dr. Onalu Apa. Doctor, you're welcome to Business Express.
My presenter.
Thank you, Dr. Akpa. Well, it is a season of celebration. It is Christmas, it is a New Year, and a whole lot. The demand for poultry products, particularly chicken, is on the high. And you know, the higher the demand, the higher the price. But is that the reason why a bird, a particular matured poultry bird, goes for as much as 15,000 naira?
Well, thank you, my brother. I think it's a great pleasure to have me on this program this afternoon. Let me correct this impression. It is not because of the high demand that is responsible for the high cost of poultry, for chicken rather. I think the reason is different from what you are trying to say, because where you have demand, high demand, and then there is production activities and then supply, then the price has to be stable. The reason is not because of the festivities. The price of chicken has been relatively high, not particularly because of the Christmas season or the New Year. It has been high because of the high cost of production. And the high cost of production is primed on so many factors, as we also know in the economy. Just like other food products, the price of things has never come down in the last few months, especially in the last 1 year. So also the price of chicken. And the reason for the price of chicken being high is not because of demand. It has been there. It is because of the high cost of production in terms of raw materials, the regulation of the economy, and generally the factor that's responsible for the high cost of other products in the country. So it is not because of Christmas. For us, Christmas should present itself as a season where we should be able to produce enough chicken based on demand to be able to sell and have return on investment. So the high cost, as every person is witnessing, is not because of the festive season. It's because of the economies of the world that is in turbulency. High cost of maize, high cost of soya, the exchange rate polarity, and so many things, volatility, and so many things.
Okay. Looking at the global scene, which you attribute to the high costs, particularly which you pet at the level of high costs in production. But we've had interventions, particularly from the Central Bank of Nigeria, to farmers to ensure that they don't just produce en masse, but like the cost of this production is reduced. Is that making impact, or the impact is not that much? And if it's not that much, what do you think can be done to ensure that going into the new year we should have cost of production reduced so as to affect the cost of this products or these outputs, whether agri or otherwise?
Yeah, just like you said, actually there had been some level of intervention by the Central Bank of Nigeria and given some quantity of maize to the Poultry Association of Nigeria. In the same vein, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture has also intervened by giving maize to poultry farmers. But that is not to say that these interventions, as good as they were, should be able to completely translate into cost of reduction in the total cost of production. I'll give you an example. The poultry industry alone takes almost 4.5 million metric tons of maize. And in the overall intervention by the Central Bank of Nigeria, what we've had has never been more than 15,000 metric tons of maize at relatively subsidy according to them. But when you want to add the cost of transportation from the various locations of this maize, and then before you haul and bring them to your farms, you discover that the cost is enormous. So out of 4.5 million metric tons of maize needed, and 15,000 metric tons of maize is being given, to me, just like a drop of water in an ocean. So we are not saying that that does not help. It actually really helped to also stabilize the price of maize, where in situations whereby the maize sellers were supposed to have their prices double, but sometimes when they see that the central bank has intervened by giving some quantity of maize to the association, you discover that they put relatively, they try to stabilize their prices, and that is what has been able to keep production activities in the instance of supply of chicken and egg in the country stable in the last few months. But we look at it in situations whereby we should be able to have when we have the insecurity greatly reduced, like the government is trying to do, and every other person is able to go to the farm, and then there's oversupply of maize and then other raw materials, I think we should be able to have the cost of production reduced. And then in terms of other ingredients like the inputs, the regulation of the Naira also affects a lot of things. The cost of diesel for production activities, has also increased the cost of production. So it is not only in terms of maize subsidy or in terms of maize supply or intervention by the federal government or the central bank. There are a lot of other factors that are responsible for most of these things. High cost of lending, invariably every poultry producer is like a government unto itself because it provides everything for himself. And that is what is actually responsible for the high cost of production. But we look into a situation whereby with the reduction in insecurity in this country, we hope that during the next farming season, a lot of farmers will be able to go to the farms, produce a lot, and then we'll also, because it is in our own interest to be able to produce at affordable prices for Nigerians to be able to afford the protein sources of chicken and egg. And that we are putting every plan in order to make sure that our cost of production comes down comparatively to situations whereby every Nigerian will be able to afford chicken and egg. So we are not happy that the cost of production is high. Virtually every poultry farmer is operating at a rate. People might think there are good return on investment. No, there are no good return on investment, and that is why you see that the small-scale poultry farmers are closing down on daily basis. So it's a hard time for all of us. Government is doing the best they can do. The farmers are doing the best they can do, but there are levels we cannot go beyond in terms of trying to continue to be in business, and that is why you see that the cost of egg and the cost of chicken is still very high. It is our hope and it is our belief that by the time we put strategies in places and then working closely with government at every level, we should be able to bring down the cost of production because it is for the good of Nigerians and then for the good of those of us who are investors in the poultry industry.
Dr. Akpa, having enumerated all these challenges, which gives reason for the prices we have, chicken going minimally like 15,000, one egg is now 100 naira. That is for the local egg that we have from our poultries around. What would you say with what's your own take where we have, if you go to the supermarket, you discover that the imported eggs are going cheaper than the ones we have? Are you saying we should now depend on imports since we don't have enough to go around locally and with the price hike?
My good friend, the presenter, let me disabuse some 18, 20 years. There is no imported table eggs into this country. So for anybody to say he walked into the supermarket or to the superstores and have imported eggs being sold cheaper than the locally produced eggs, no. There are no imported table eggs into this country. It has been on the import prohibition list, and then because of the fragility and because of the delicacies of importing this thing, even if you want to smuggle them, it is not possible. So there are no imported eggs in our supermarkets or in our markets. Well, if you say of imported frozen chicken, I can understand this. Although the chicken or frozen poultry products are banned from coming into this country, there are unscrupulous Nigerians who still bring these things unwholesomely through smuggling into this country. Now, but because they bring what is called reject from other parts of the country into this country, now they can afford to sell at below the cost of production of the Nigerian made chicken. So if you look at most of what people are sold, what people sell as frozen poultry products imported onto this country, they are unwholesome, completely unwholesome, because since they do not come through formal trade, they come through the different routes of smuggling, and then their cold chain value breaks down. So what we see people buying are not chicken. Completely, they are poison. So you can't compare expired products and products that still have a very good active shelf life to have the same prices. So, like you were saying, that the chicken was going as much as 18,000 per chicken for during the Christmas. You see, most of us are involved in this value chain. We produce, we also sell live, and we sell frozen. Now, if you go to any of the supermarkets today, a kilo of chicken does not go more than 3,000 naira at the worst high rate. Now, if you buy 2 kilo or 3 kilo, 3 kilo, for example, is 9,000 naira. 2 kilo is just 6,000 naira. So you see, when you see overjealousness of people, and then people taking unnecessary advantage of the festive period to screw people. So selling one chicken at 15,000 naira depends on the knowledge of the market. If you go to any of the supermarkets or you go to any of the cold chains, you could buy chicken as low as 2,500, 2,600 per kilogram, already processed, dressed, whole-hearted, healthy chicken. But people want to buy live chicken. They see it as a prestige, that, oh, I bought one chicken at 15,000, I bought one chicken at 18,000. No, it is not the real indices of the market and the cost of production. So it could be overzealousness, or people want to have a prestige attached to the meat they want to eat at Christmas. But it is not the real so in the market. I want to clarify this so that it also becomes important. Because if you now say the cost of chicken, one live chicken is...
Okay, thank you, Dr. Onalo, for that clarification on the egg. It's good to know that there is no imported table eggs into this country, which means we are moving towards self-sufficiency. I will look forward to those strategies that will be put in place to ensure that we have not just sufficiency, but also the prices are also down. And moving on, Nigeria and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation are strategizing towards addressing challenges associated with food security. This is coming as Nigeria hosts the Conference on Food Security and Agricultural Development. Musa Baba Aliu reports.
Islamic Cooperation. The organization's vision is to contribute largely to global efforts in the eradication of hunger and poverty in member states. Nigeria hosted this year's conference in Abuja.
The ongoing global political, financial, and continued pandemic crisis, along with the climate change and other challenges that the international community is facing today, are having an adverse impact on the progress of ensuring food security across member countries and achieving sustainable development goals.
Nigeria was therefore selected by the Islamic Organization for Food Security to serve as a hub for grain storage for member countries.
This is not to say that we are satisfied, but we are determined to make more significant progress in this direction by generating more yields in crops, fisheries, and livestock subsectors. The country is therefore open to direct investment in this sector to leverage on the gains that we have witnessed so far.
The objective of the conference is to build the capacity of government officials on the basic practice strategy and creation of intersectorial mechanism on food security. Musa Baba Aliyu.
Say global commodities. And now oil prices climbed on Wednesday as markets were optimistic about fuel demand recovery. This is as China continues to ease its COVID restrictions. CNBC reports that Brent futures for February delivery rose 21 cents to $84.64 a barrel, a 0.4% gain. U.S. crude advanced 0.3% to $79.75 per barrel. Amid the optimistic market mood, both benchmarks hit their highest level in 3 weeks on Tuesday. And taking a look at the markets in Nigeria, Nigerian stocks gained on the first trading day of holiday shortened week to sustain the winning streak, a signal that Santa is still in the house. The all-share index rose to 49,934.6 points as investors traded 498 million shares in 3,989 deals, valued at 3.884 billion naira. Equity capitalization rose to 27.198 trillion naira. At this point, let's join Boseri Abel for Global Stock Market Update.
With 3 trading days left for the year, global stock markets have suffered a dismal 2022 as governments and central banks grappled with sky-high inflation arising from the fallout from Russia's war in Ukraine and persistent COVID-19 restrictions in China. European markets were mixed this Wednesday as investors look ahead to the various economic headwinds coming down the pike in 2023. DAX and CAC depreciated while FTSE rose 0.83%. Asia market traded mixed after Wall Street losses overnight as investors weighed headwinds for the economy. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index added 1.56% to 19,898.1, leading gains in the region and bulking the wider trend as Chief Executive John Lee announced further easing of COVID measures in the city. In mainland China, the Shanghai Composite closed 0.26% lower at 3,087.4, and the Nikkei also dipped 0.41%. U.S. stocks were also mixed. The Dow Jones Industrial Average appreciated while Nasdaq and S&P dipped. Same with Africa's JSE Africa Top 40, which gained 0.99%, while Tunisia's Tunidex and Namibia's overall index depreciated, as markets in Africa also look ahead in optimism to 2023. Boss Sede Able, Business Express.
We now take a look at how the Naira is exchanged with other currencies around the globe. That is the official exchange rate. That wraps Business Express for today. Remember to keep in touch with us. Do send in your comments, observations, and suggestions. Also be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on NTA's channel. You can also communicate with us via our various social media platforms. Business Express returns Thursday at 9:30 a.m. I am Benny Adams saying enjoy the festive season.